Trixie just nodded her head. "Well, it's going to be very interesting," was all she said as she turned and looked at the others, as they looked a little confused at her. "For now, don't worry about it. You both will find out soon enough," she told them as she just waved them off. The girls just nodded their heads to this as they didn't know what to think about this. Michael stood off in the shadows, up in a tree, just watching his nephew talk with the two girls and watched the summons as well. Well, he has chosen a strong female, but will she be able to handle the fact he is the son of the devil? He thought to himself as Kurama appeared before him. "You know it isn't right be to a stalker," said Kurama with a smirk on his face. Michael narrows his violet eyes at him. "I am watching the boy. I want to know how much work I have before me," he growled out as he didn't like speaking with the boujou. "You don't have too much work before you, for I have done my best to teach him about his angelic powers when the others are away, and when they return, they work with him beside that lazy bastard," growled out Kurama. Michael scoffed at this. "Like a demon like yourself knows anything." "I know more than you think, little archangel," said Kurama with a smirk as he jumped from the branch he was standing on as Michael had swung his flaming holy sword at him. "Keep it up, little archangel. Lucifer will be here before you know it. For nothing will happen to his son or myself, for our lives are linked." "Even though your father had changed the ceiling a little," said Kurama as he vanished once more. He had to meet the others at the Hawkage Tower to have a nice long talk with the old man. Michael growled to himself, "Damn beast." His eyes moved back to Naruto as the boy was jumping away from one of Trixie's attacks as his wings appeared behind his back. Beautiful black and white feathers mixed into his wings. Michael looked on in shock. The boy was pure, but he also gotten his father's black wings from when he had fallen. Naruto smirked as he stayed in the air longer than normal before his wings faded once more, and he went falling back to the earth below him. "Ouch!" he cried as he was rubbing his back, and his head as he fell, hitting his head on a stone, and his back on a tree. "I hate it that I can't keep them out too long," he whined to Trixie. "It's fine, Naru-chan. We will get you better trained now that your Uncle Michael is here. I wish I would have listened better during my training with my wings," said Trixie as she looked away sheepishly. A pure soul wishing to live in hell with all the demons and fallen. Many in Silver City had looked at her for wanting that path in her life. Even her mother was shocked for her daughter wanting to stay close to Lucifer and Maze. "That is an amazing bloodline, Naruto," said Ino as she loved looking at his wings. Naruto blushes. "Thanks, Ino," he said sheepishly as he rubs his hand behind his head as he looks away. Shikamaru just studies the two as his family always said weird things, and always seemed to be different from the others in the village, or even different from a normal human in many ways. And with Naruto having this strange bloodline limit, it always made her wonder what all her boyfriend was hiding from everyone. No matter what, she wouldn't judge him or treat him any different. She just wanted to know what to expect from him. Hawkage Tower. Kurama appeared next to Sakumo and Amanadiel. "Are you two ready to get this over with?" he asked the two next to him. "It's best to do this now. If not, it will be troublesome in the future," said Sakumo, as he was channeling his inner Nara at the moment. With a nod, the three men walked into the Hawkage Tower with the missions they each had. Kurama figured he would handle his last, as it would surely give the old monkey a heart attack. They slowly made their way up the long stairway to the top floor where the Hokage's office was. Each man lost in their own thoughts about what was about to happen. Slowly but surely, they had made it to the old man's office and knocked on the door. "Come in," was heard on the other side of the door. They opened the door and walked in as they saw the old man doing his paperwork and was alone as his Ambu had left the office. As they feared two of the three men in the trio before their Hawkage. "Ah, Sakumo, Kurama, and Amanadiel. What do I owe the pleasure of your visit this fine morning?" asked Saratobi, as he smiled at each of them. and watched his Ambu run like scared little girls. This sad. They are the elite, and they run from 2 of the 3 before me, he thought to himself as he let out a mental sigh to this little detail. Amenadiel stepped forth with a scroll in his hand. I have grave news. But Uriel had passed away last night of a heart attack, and we had always handled his body and cremated it. He told the old man before him, giving him the scroll. Everything is in the scroll, he told him. Sarutobi nodded his head. I see. He did appear not to be feeling well last night when you 3 returned from your mission, he told Amenadiel. Amenadiel just nodded his head to this, as he didn't want to say any more. Sakumo stepped forth. I handled the little issue you were having with the Uchiha clan. All those who wanted to rise against the village have been turned to Hellhound Chow, he said with his eyes flashing amber at the thought of all those screams. Sarutobi paled at this. I didn't know you knew anything about what was happening with them, he said with a hint of fear in his voice. Sakumo smirked. I have a better spy network than Jiraiya's, and I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty to protect those I care for, he said as the old man knew he was talking about Naruto, and he knew that they would do anything for the boy. Kurama smirked. What I am about to tell you will shock you. So you best not have a heart attack on me, you old monkey, he told the elderly leader. Sarutobi arched an eyebrow to this as he wanted to know what the hell was happening. What are you talking about, Kurama-kun? He asked. Kurama took a seat before the elderly old man. There is a reason I have not taken missions from the village, and I'm always close to Naruto. Haven't you ever wondered why I was always close to the boy? He asked. Well, yes, I have wondered that many times, and I have asked the others, and they all told me to ask you, for you're the only one with the answers I need, said Sarutobi, as he was finally getting one answer to the many mysteries that surround the Namikaze Uzumaki clans. Well, Naruto is my Jinchuriki. I was sealed within Naruto that night, and I was told not to tell you or anyone, for Minato and Kushina wanted the child to have a normal life, and for no one to know the secret that the boy had the 9 tails sealed within him. But my seal is special as it allows me out of him, for I was ordered by Kushina and Minato to raise the boy and make sure he had a good life, said Kurama as he watched the old man before him. Sarutobi's eyes wide in shock and fear, for the man before him was the beast that destroyed this village so many years ago. But how? Was all he could ask. A higher power get in the way and stop the Shinigami for taking Minato's soul, and my soul was changed to allow me out to raise the boy. For the higher power said if the boy was outed as the jailer of the 9 tails, the villagers would do all in their power to kill him and hurt him any chance they could get. This was the only things we could do at the time. For the child is very special, and we couldn't allow him to be raised hated and abused, said Kurama, as he knew the old man wanted to say that wouldn't happen. That wouldn't have happened. The villagers would have honored any wishes of Minato, he told Kurama. Kurama, tell me how the other villages treat my siblings sealed in the other human, he asked the old man. Sarutobi opened his mouth to speak, but quickly closed it as he knew that what Kurama was saying was true. Naruto would have been treated badly and would have never been cared for or even have friends as he has now. He wouldn't have had a normal childhood, and the elders would have demanded that the boy would have been trained as a weapon, as how they wanted to do that to Kushina once they learned of her being the holder of the 9 tails. He let out a defeated sigh. You are right, said Sarutobi, as he looked away with shame written across his face. But who all knows about you being sealed in the boy? He asked as he wanted to know. Kurama just smirked. Just his family and soon his mate and other teammate, he told the old man before him. Sarutobi nodded his head. Just make sure the girls know that it is important for them to keep this secret, for we do not need it coming out, as his life would change, and there would be a massive uprising with the villagers demanding him to be punished or worse, he told Kurama and the other 2. You think I don't know that, you old fool? I know better than any of you monkeys how you monkeys turn on each other over the littlest of things. And this would be the stone that would destroy this village, for I would do everything in my power to protect my kit, and I will kill anyone and everyone who tries to hurt him or kill him, said Kurama as Sakumo nodded his head, as Amanadiel also agreed with the two other men. With a heavy sigh, as it appeared Sarutobi aged another 50 years just now. Anything else you want to tell me? He asked them. Kurama and Sakumo just smirked. Not now. Maybe later, said Sakumo as he stood up and walked back to the office door. With a nod, they left the office, and left an old man wondering what the hell was going on in his village that he didn't know about it. Uchiha District. Itachi, along with his mother, cleaned up the shrine as they didn't want anyone to see what had happened there. The cover story they came up with was it was a mass suicide, and they would handle it as they didn't want to scare anyone from the sight that was left behind those who lost their mind last night. Naruto and Team 10. It was the end of the day, and all of Team 10 walked back to Naruto's house, so they could get some answers from Kurama about the summons freaking out about him, and to have dinner with the boy as Amanadiel was making dinner tonight, and it was going to grill for them. So please promise you will not freak out, and also you cannot tell anyone about this. If Kurama chooses to later on, we can tell your parents, but for now, it is something that must stay with us, said Naruto as he was very nervous, as he was scared to lose his best friends and girlfriend over this huge little secret about himself. Don't worry, Naruto. We trust you, and I don't think there is anything you can tell us that will shock us anymore, said Ino as she smiled at him. Shikamaru took his hand into hers and smiled at him. It will be fine, you troublesome blonde, she told him with a smile on her face. I just hope so, said Naruto as he opened the gate, leading the girls into his clan lands as they walked up the house. There, standing there waiting for him to return, was Michael, as he was glaring at the girls right next to him. Hurry up. We have training to do, and I will not be wasting my time here. I do want to return to Silver City soon, said Michael as he was straight to business. Okay, Uncle Michael, said Naruto, as he wasn't too happy. He wouldn't be with the girls when Kurama drops the bomb. Kurama appeared next to Michael. Still an asshole, he said as he looks at the girls. Let's go to the backyard and watch them, and we can talk there, he told the two girls before him. They both nodded their heads as they followed after Naruto as his bossy uncle. Michael stood across from Naruto. All right, boy, focus and make your wings appear, he ordered. Naruto nodded his head and did as he was told. Kurama looked at the girls as they sat under a large old oak tree. Well, I know you two are wonder why I know those two boss summons, he asked them. Well, yeah, they talk like you are one of them and have fought them on even ground, said Ino as she was trying to figure this out. Shikamaru just studied the red head before her. Naruto said something about a summons he had that the village would have a heart attack about if they ever seen it in the village walls, she said. Yes, said Kurama as he watched the little Nara try to figure it out. The only summons that I could think about that would have the villagers panicking would be a kitsune summons. Is that the summons you are tied to? Asked Shikamaru. Kurama grinned as he looked at the raven hair girl before him. That I am, for I am the boss summons for them. For I am the Kyubi no Yoki, as you humans call me. But I am also called the Kyubi no Kitsune, as I am the nine-tailed Baiju that was forced to attack the village on the night that my kit was born, he told the two before him. Ino's and Shikamaru's eyes widen as they are sitting across a man that claims to be the strongest of all the tailed Baijus. But how? Asked Ino, as Shika was thinking. There is a special seal on my kit that allows me out of him to take care of him. For his parents made me promise nothing bad will happen to him, and the others have been covering my ass for so long to keep me off of missions, as the damn elders wanted to send me out of the village to get their hands on my kit, and do Kami knows what to him. But they didn't know about me being sealed within him. Your Hawkage just found out today as well. or I will be vanishing from the village once your team takes missions outside the village walls, and the others will not be able to cover for me then," said Kurama. "So that night you attack. Someone had forced you?" asked Shikamaru as she was trying to study him. "Yes, I was made into a puppet by some damn Uchiha that is Rouge at the time. The only Rouge Uchiha from this village is Madara, and he should be long dead. But things don't always go the way we think. But this Uchiha did have some of that man's chakra in him. But it wasn't the true Madara but a puppet for the bastard as well," said Kurama as the girls seemed to understand where he was coming from. "All right, it isn't your fault, nor is it Naruto's. You both were just forced into things at the time out of your power, as he was a newborn and you under the control of an Uchiha," said Shikamaru as she wrapped her mind around it all. "I'm not going to treat Naruto any different, for I do see you two as your own two beings," she said. Kurama grinned and nodded his head. "I always liked you and you're good for my kit," he said as he looked at Ino. "Naruto is Naruto, and you are Kurama, our pain in the ass part-time sensei that loves making our lives a living hell in training," said Ino as she just smirked, as this wasn't the worst thing she had ever heard. The worst was when the rumor began about Sasuke being gay, which she is still wondering about, and about him really liking Naruto. "Well, I'm glad you two took it better then. The kid thought you were going to take it, for he feared that you would throw him away and fear him for having me within him," said Kurama as he was proud of his kit's friends. "Troublesome. Why would we do that? We grow up with him, and you always around, and you have protected us from a few bastards that tried attacking us at the park before any of the damn Uchiha police showed their lazy asses up," said Shikamaru as she wouldn't turn her back on him now. Kurama nodded his head and they watch as Michael threw Naruto around like a rag doll around the training ground. The Archangel wasn't holding his punches and was putting the boy through his own version of Hell Boot Camp. Next time, Silver City and Lucifer having a word with his bastard of a brother. Like always, I do not own Naruto or Lucifer. What can I say? My story is a little chaotic at times, and I do have... Chapter 12. Silver City. Uriel appeared before God. He looked up at his father with a glare on his face. "Father! Why didn't you send for me sooner?" he questioned. God looked down at his disrespectful son. "Uriel, I believe it at the time it would be good for you to spend some time down in the human world. But I was wrong for even being around your nephew, my very own grandson. You showed you only went down there for your own entertainment, for all the women you had spent nights with on missions. And when you leave the house when no one was looking, you basically answered the call for the sin of the flesh. Never once worried that something bad would befall your nephew." Lucifer walked into the room, clapping his hands together as Kushina stood behind him as her hair was up in the air, as if they had a mind of their own. "Dear brother, I would have killed you the first time you stepped away from caring for my son. But my dear and lovely wife told me to give you a chance, for we all get stressed and need to relax in our own ways. But even now my wife regrets ever saying those words," said Lucifer as he looked at a pissed-off crimson-eyed Kushina. "Now, dear brother, please explain to me and father why you told my son those cold and harsh words," asked Lucifer as a black flaming sword appeared in his hands. "Naruto and Michael. Good. You are staying in the air longer. But you need to clean up all those openings in battle," said Michael, as he swung a wooden sword down on Naruto's head as said boy allowed his wings to fade away and he dropped from the sky as his wings reappeared behind his back. It's been 2 months since Uriel left and everyone in the house had relaxed a lot. As well, all the angels haven't been taking on rank missions anymore. They've been able to just relax and aid in Naruto's training whenever Michael was done beating him into the ground. Trixie walked out of the house. All right, Michael, I need to boy. His team will be meeting up in 30 minutes, and he needs to eat and shower. For we are taking a C-rank mission today, she called out at the blonde-hair archangel. Michael looks down and glares at the angel that wishes to live with demons. Fine. We are done here anyways, he said as he landed on the ground and grabbed a towel to wipe away the sweat that was on his face. He looked up as he felt eyes on him. Trixie blushes as she looked away as she was caught staring at him. Michael smirked at her as he walked past her, just stopping for a brief second. Do you enjoy what you see? He asked her as he vanished into the house. Trixie's cheeks burned crimson from his words as she quickly turned away from Naruto as she saw him running to her. I'll meet you with the others, she said as she vanished. Naruto just blinked and shrugged his shoulders as he didn't see what happened between the two as he ran into the house to shower and find something to eat. As he saw Michael standing in the kitchen drinking a glass of milk without his shirt on, he just shook his head and ran past him and up the stairs to his room and to the shower. Hell. Lucifer looked at a bloody and beaten Uriel laying on the ground before him. I will make you regret how you made my son feel that night, he growled out. Uriel looked up at Lucifer, spitting out the blood from his mouth. He was shocked that his father allowed Lucifer to have him to take his pound of flesh from him and return him when he was done to face the punishment his very own father set for him as well. I don't give a damn. He is a spoiled brat that expects us all to stop everyone for him, he growled out. Lucifer's eyes flashed crimson as his black wings opened behind him as horns appeared on his head. My son has a pure heart and soul. The purest I have felt outside of Silver City since I was a boy myself. Before my fall, he growled out. He wasn't spoiled when he just wanted to spend time with you and learn what you have to offer him. Have you forgotten, you bloodily bastard, that you offered to go to Earth and train my son? Not for you to go and get a good fucking, he said as he kicked Uriel across the room that had been his home for the past 2 months. Just be grateful, Father will not allow me to kick you, said Lucifer as he turned and walked out of the room as the door closed and sealed shut. Outside stood Kushina as she looked up at her husband in his devil form. She softly smiled at him and placed her hand on his cheek as Lucifer tried to look away for her, not to look at how ugly he believed himself to be. Lucifer, you are beautiful to me, said Kushina as she leaned up to him and kissed him on his lips softly. Lucifer's eyes widened with shock as his wife still found him beautiful in his hideous form. He pulled Kushina into his arms and just held her until he was back to normal. Kushina looked up at him with a soft smile on her face. Training Ground 10. Naruto came running up to his 2 teammates as his hair was still wet from his quick shower. Hey guys, he called, waving to them. Shikamaru opened her eyes from where she was napping to see her boyfriend running up to them. As Ino looked up from the training scroll her summons had given her to study. Hey Naruto, said Ino with a smile as she went back to her scroll. They still had about 15 minutes until Trixie or Maze showed up. Hey Naru-kun, said Shika as she sat up a little, smiling at him. Sorry I was late, you two, said Naruto, as they liked to meet early and train together. It's fine. It gave me the time I needed to look over this scroll, said Ino as she figured she was going to get any more studying done and seals it away. Also, I got to take a nice little nap before we do any of those damn D-rank missions, said Shikamaru as she let out a sigh. Naruto shook his head to his girlfriend's lazy antics. Yeah? But you could have been doing something, he told her. She narrowed her eyes at him. I have been training with my father since 6 a.m. He wants to make sure I can take care of myself on our first real mission outside of the village. As my summons have me up at 5 a.m. running laps and training. They have taken after my troublesome mother, she said as she just wanted to go back to sleep. Sounds like my training with my uncle Michael. We start at 4 a.m., said Naruto as he lays down and lays his head on Shika's lap as she plays with his wet locks. It appears your training ran late today, said Shika as she looks down into his beautiful eyes. Yeah, it did, He has me working more with my wings. Also battling in the sky, telling me that it is important for the future. Whatever that means, said Naruto as he let a small yawn escape his lips. He really wanted a nap. But a life of a ninja was one of always being on your toes. But he felt relaxed and safe with his two teammates and knew they would protect him if he felt asleep, as they knew the same would be done for them with him. This was the site that Trixie and Maze walked up on, as they say, Team 10 relaxing, chatting with each other, with Naruto's head on Shikamaru's lap. All right, brats, we have a mission. We are going with Team 7 on a simple escort mission to the Land of Waves, said Maze as she was now grinning. They all sat up. Really? Asked Naruto as he was shocked to hear this. Troublesome, said Shikamaru, as she didn't feel like dealing with an annoying fangirl. Oh great. Why? Sakura is going to be annoying, and I don't want to deal with her, said Ino as she let out a sigh. Maze grinned. It will be fine, she said, waving them off. Next time we will have the mission to the wave and the meeting of the demon brothers. Well, demon and angel, demon meeting. So-called demons, laughing out loud. Sorry for the short chapter. I do not own Naruto or Lucifer. The would be a good... Chapter 13. Team 10 stood at the main gates as they waited for the ever-so-late Team 7. Ino just let out a sigh as she wanted to finish her training with her father. Really, are they always this late? Questioned Ino as she crossed her arms. Just then, Kiba comes running to the main gate with Akamaru running alongside him. Hey guys! Sorry I'm late. Has my other teammates shown up yet? He asked them as he was standing before them, as he was panting a little as he had run all the way from his clan home. Ino looks at him a little annoyed. We have been waiting for your team for over an hour, to the point your client is sitting over there drunk off his ass, she said as she points at the old man with his pointed straw hat and white towel wrapped around his neck. Kiba looked at her a little puzzled. I am only 10 minutes late. Kakashi-sensei said that we are to meet at 11 a.m., he told them. Trixie narrows her eyes at what she was being told. Really? Kakashi and I have been told that we are to meet at 10 a.m. at the main gates. Just as Trixie had said that Sasuke and Sakura come strolling along with their own packs on their back. Sakura narrows her eyes at Ino as she was ready to fight her ex-friend over her teammate. Ino just glared back at the pinkette. Slowly, a small grin crept across her lips as she looks at Naruto and jumps on his back, wrapping her arms around his neck and kissing him on the cheek. Thank you, Naruto-kun, for everything, she tells him. All of Team 7 looks at the pale blonde with shock and wide eyes as they look over at the raven-haired girl. A grin crept across her lips as he jumped into his arms and kissed him on the lips. Naruto's eyes widened as he returned the kiss and blushed with Ino hanging off of him and giving him a kiss on the cheek as well. He was being sandwiched between the two girls and not really knowing what to do. Damn, said Kiba, as he was shocked at what just happened. Sasuke just nodded his head as he didn't know what to say about what he just saw. He knows that the blonde is dating the lazy Nara heiress, but didn't know there was also something going on between him and the Yamanaka heiress as well. That is disgusting, Ino pig. Shika hog, hissed out Sakura as she turned away from them and looked at Sasuke from the corner of her eye, as she was hoping maybe he would try something like that with her. Both girls of Team 10 just smirk at the pinkette. At least we have a man? Unlike you who just stalks your teammate that doesn't even like you, said Shikamaru as she smirks. Ino had a slight blush on her cheeks as what her best friend had just said, as Naruto had grown brighter with his blush. As Sakura was getting ready to fight with the raven hair girl, her sensei comes flying past her and her two male teammates. Kakashi slowly wandered around the village as he had gathered everything he needed for his mission, and had gone and restocked on several shinobi tools that he might need for the mission, and then picked up some food for this mission, as he didn't really want to hunt and just eat Reese. and did like to have some fresh fruit with him. But unknown to him, he was being stalked by two individuals from the shadows. Amber eyes narrow in on the young silver-haired man as he read his perverted book. As the woman that stood next to him laughed, "He is being late to test you on your warning," said the woman. He looks at her as he follows him with out of the corner of his eyes. "Well, he will find out the hard way that it isn't wise to cross me. Something I thought I taught him this while he was still a little boy," he growled out. "Well, it appears he had forgotten that lesson over time," said Maze as she looked at Tsukumo as he was slowly shifting to his werewolf from. With a growl, Tsukumo jumps down from the rooftop across to where Kakashi was standing just reading his book. "Boy, I have warned you about being late for missions and training. Did you think I was playing with you?" he growls out as he stalks up to the man. Kakashi looks at him with his single eye with fear. "No, sir," he said with fear in his voice. "Why do I feel like speaking to my father?" he questioned himself in the back of his mind. "Then explain to Maze and myself why you are over an hour late for your mission to the land of Wave," questioned Tsukumo as he is towering over his son, his normal amber eyes now flashing crimson as he was growing tired of his son's foolish games. I needed a few supplies before the mission, and I didn't know I was running low until I was packing," said Kakashi, as he was hoping this would save his ass. Tsukumo nodded his large wolf head at him as he raises his large clawed hand, wrapping his long fingers with long sharp claws around his son's head. "Then tell me, why have you been standing here for the past 20 minutes reading that trash?" he questioned as he raises Kakashi off the dirt road that lead down the main gates. Kakashi, dropping his book in fear, wraps both his hands around the wrist of the beast that held him at his mercy. His body trembled with fear as he was powerless to this demon that held him in the air. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to test you, father," cried out Kakashi. Tsukumo pulled his son close to him. "How long have you known I was back from the dead?" he whispered into his son's ear. Kakashi's single eye widened as he didn't know this demon. This man was really his father back from the dead. He just said it as he remembered how his father would get with people when they crossed him. How? Was his only question. "I'll tell you after this mission, but do not ask any questions. Or Trixie or Maze can summon me to them, and I will not be happy to hear that you have been hounding them, boy," growled Tsukumo as he threw his son at the main gates, where Trixie stood with both teams. Tsukumo ran after the flying shinobi as he wanted to make show of it, and put a little fear into people just for fun. Kakashi slammed into the wall, sliding down it. His single eye held fear and tears. Something that the younger shinobi were not sure if the man could handle this mission that was before them. "Remember, boy, you are a shinobi. You are on time for missions and training. Stop slacking off with training that pink hair thing standing there with the duck-ass boy and pup," growled out Tsukumo. Sakura made a fist and glared at the werewolf that stood before her. "How dare you call—" She didn't finish screaming at the beast before her, as the crimson eyes looking at her scared her deep down into her very soul. "Do not raise your voice at me, Genin. I am a jonin of this village, and you are nothing but a rookie. That is shit that sticks to the bottom of my boot," roared out Tsukumo as Sakura fell on her ass and crawled away from him with fear. "Why, yes, sir," said Sakura between tears and fear lacing her voice as he was now hiding behind her. Two male teammates as they both quickly move away from her, leaving her to her own fate that she had sown for herself. Kazuna looked at the beast that was standing before him, talking and growling and attacking the shinobi that have been hired to protect him. He looked down at the bottle's sake in his hand and back up at the black fur and amber eyes, looking at him and back down at the bottle. Slowly he placed the bottle down. "I think I have finally started seeing things from drinking too much," he said to no one but himself. Sakumo smirked at the man before him. No, sir, you're not seeing things? It is a very rare bloodline that runs in my family that allows me to turn into this beast you see before you, he tells Tazuna. Slowly, Tazuna nods his head to this. I wish I had more money to hire you for protection. For anyone that attacks me on my trip home, and while working on my bridge would run for the hills, he said as this made Sakumo look at him oddly. He felt something was off with the man's statement. He was going to have Ruby and her pack follow after them, and if anything happens to them, he will be joining the mission. Hokage be damned! Kakashi finally recovered as he looked at his team and Team 10. Where are your packs? He questioned them. I have everything sealed away in scrolls and in these seal tattoos, said Naruto, as him and his team hold up their arms, showing up the sealing tattoos on their forearms. He nods his head and looks over at the client. I am sorry I am late. I had to gather a few things for the mission, he tells Tazuna. Tazuna waves him off. It is fine. Let's just get going before nightfall. I don't want to travel after sunset for the stories of something that stalks the forest around here on full moons, he says, looking over at Sakumo, who just give him a feral grin. Now standing there is a man with raven locks. Those would be my summons. My hellhounds like to run out in the wild during full moons and hunt, he told the old man with a dark grin. All right, brats, let's go, said Maze as she grins and looks over at Kakashi, who just nods his head to her, as Trixie is standing there in her cute chibi from. Does your team have 4 genin? Asked Tazuna as he was walking next to Maze, who was cleaning her nails with one of her daggers. Looking over at him and over at Trixie as he was looking at the young girl. No, my sister is a jonin, and is in her 20s, she said as if it was no big deal. Tazuna's eyes widen. Then why does she look like a child? He questions as he felt uneasy with a child traveling with them. For I am able to shift my body to any size I want and to any age I want, said Trixie as now she stood before him as a 20-year-old girl with an hourglass figure smirking at him. He just dumbly nods his head to this as Sasuke and Kiba just keep their eyes on her as they found her hot. She had curves in all the right places and her chest was the perfect size for them. And a nice peach-shaped ass? Sakura frowns as she sees how Sasuke and even Kiba as drooling over the Jonin sensei of Team 10 frowning at them. They had been traveling all day and are about 3 hours from the coastline between the Land of Fire and Land of Waves. Naruto looks at his 2 aunts. I think I'll get a look form up in the air. Or I keep picking up something and it has me on edge, he tells them. Both Trixie and Maze nod their heads to this. Kakashi looks over at the 2 women in wonder of how Naruto is going to be taking to the air. Before he can even voice anything, white and black wings appear on the back of the boy's back, and he jumps into the air, flapping his wings, looking down at them as he moved up over the tree line. What in the hell? Said Tazuna as he drops his sake bottle and wipes his face with his towel. If he lives after this mission, he was going to stop drinking. For the shinobi of Konoha are not normal, and the ones from Team 10 are strange as well. Up in the air, Naruto flies over the land and sees that there are 2 men standing about a mile ahead of them and are going though hand signs and vanishing into puddles of water. He frowns at this and radios back. Hey, we got trouble up ahead. They are shinobi and are in a genjutsu on the side of the road as puddles of water, he reports. Maze and Trixie smirk. Well, Naruto, do you want to engage them on your own, or do you believe you will be needing any help? Asked Maze. Naruto narrows his eyes over into the woods and smirks. I will engage, but Ruby and the others have been trailing us. I'll go speak with her before I attack, he told Maze. All right, be careful, said Trixie. We will be waiting here until we get the coast is clear, said Maze as she looks everyone. What is going on? Asks Kakashi as he is confused at everything that has happened in the past few seconds. There is an ambush up ahead of us and they have some shinobi training. So Naruto is going to be handling it before we enter the area, said Trixie as she smirks. What? The dope isn't that strong, said Sasuke as he was growing annoyed. Are you sure Naruto is strong enough to handle trap up ahead? Questions Kiba as he is worried. He will be fine. He can last about 30 minutes against his uncle Sakumo and his werewolf from. So those two bandits ahead of us will be no problem at all, said Shikamaru as she looked up ahead of them but was being blocked by the bend in the road and all the thick forest before them. They all looked at the raven hair girl with shock. He can fight that thing? Asked Sakura, as fear was written all over her face and voice. Yeah, we can last 30 minutes against him as well. But we have to team up together though, said Ino as she looks at them as if it wasn't a big deal, even though we know he is taking it easy on us. Well, he isn't breaking our bones like he does with Naruto, she told them. Kakashi just pales at hear this. His sensei's son was being injured to such a degree, and no one even batted an idea at this. Screams cut their conversation as a male missing his right arm falls from the sky before them, as another man is being dragged over to them with the chain attached to his left arm. And at the end of the chain is the other man's missing right arm. Ruby and the other hellhounds have both men now pinned to the floor, growling and licking their lips at them as their fangs are being flashed every time they snap at them. Naruto lands next to them. It appears we have two missing Chunins from the Land of Mist. Their boss sent them to kill the bridge builder and whoever is traveling with him. For they can't have any loose ends, for Gato of Gato's shipping has a large bound on the old man, he said as he looks over at Tazuna. Are those two the demon brothers? Question Ino as Shikamaru pulls out a midnight blue bingo book from her pouch.
Yeah, we have the demon brother and are known to work with Zabuza. They are low-ranking C-class Chunin as they rely on tag team teamwork to get this missions done. They ran away from the village with their master after he failed to kill their village's cage, said Shikamaru as she looks up from the bingo book as she puts it away.
Kakashi arches a brow at Team 10. You gave your genin bingo books? He questioned Maze.
Yes, as part of TI want them to know who's out there and who they might be facing in the future. What did you think that we are going to be holding their hands forever? Asks Maze as she glares at the silver hair man.
Well no, but I just don't think is it wise is all, said Kakashi as he checks over the two men to see if they are still alive. Ruby stands up on her hind legs and shifts into a woman. I'll take them back to my lover.
Yeah, tell Uncle Sakumo things have gotten hairy for we are facing Zabuza next, said Naruto as Trixie just nodded her head to this.
I will do that. He has grown bored in the village and Michael will not fight him, said Ruby as a dark smirk crosses her lips.
Yeah, well, can you blame him? If those two fight, they will destroy the village, said Ino as she looked worried about the idea of those two fighting ever. Kakashi just pales even more. There was more to the Namikaze family than meets the eye. Something he would need to look into, and also how was his father back from the dead?
Chapter 14. Sakumo sat in the Hokage's office just glaring at the old leader. Why was I called in here for? He questioned as he wasn't in the mood. His son had found out he was alive, and hadn't bothered speaking with him since being back. But he has been busy with keeping his charge safe from those fools in the village and outside of it.
The Hokage just looked at the man that sat before him. I was informed that you attacked Kakashi Hatake before his mission, he said with a commanding voice, trying to remind the man before him who the boss was. Sakumo just smirked at the elderly man before him. I was just enforcing what I told him in the past, and he was testing me if I would keep my word. Which I did, he said with a smirk on his face. What were you enforce on my shinobi? Questioned the third Hokage as he was growing tried with the man before him. But there wasn't much he could do with him, for Sakumo had more political pull than himself. Sakumo's smirk grew even larger. I was enforcing the importance on always being on time for missions and team training. For all the time he is wasting on screwing around at that stone and just wandering around the village reading that foolish book. He is wasting the genin's time as well as the clients and village's time when he is late for meetings you call for us all. He said as he had a smug look in his eyes. For he had done something that not even EVP could do with the silver hair man.
The Hokage's mouth hung open with shock. Why, you did what? He questioned, shocked. I have fixed your problem with him always being late for missions and meetings from here to his team. He didn't believe I would whip his ass if he didn't do as I told him, said Sakumo as he was leaning back in the armchair he was sitting in, as his grin changed as he could now smell blood coming from the shadows and window of the Hokage's office, as Ruby and her pack jumped thought the window with two men, one missing an arm and the other dragging said arm by a chain attached his own arm.
Sakumo-sama, said Ruby as she was on one knee before the man.
Speak now, Ruby, commanded Sakumo as the third Hokage, as he was now watching on with shock.
Naruto along with my team have taken down the two missing ninjas from Kiri. The demon brothers who work for Zabuza, also known as the Demon of the Bloody Mist. Naruto-kun had sent us back to inform you about what is happening, and his team and the other team will be needed back up for Kakashi, and the others will not be a match for what Gato of Gato's shipping has put a bounty on Bridge Builder, for he can't not have a bridge to stop his stronghold on the poor island, said Ruby.
Sakumo sits up in the armchair growling. What did you say? He growls out. His eyes flash crimson from amber as he was turning into a werewolf before the Hokage, who has never seen the man shift like this before, as crimson flames licked at his feet. The client has lied about the mission ranking, questioned Sarutobi as he looked at Ruby. Yes, Lord Hokage, but you can't blame the poor man, for he has spent all his funding on building material for the bridge, as Gato is bleeding the island dry and has kidnapped several of the women and young girls to sell into the sex trade, said Ruby, as she could see Sakumo was growing angrier by the second. I will pay for the higher mission, if you add me to it, for I worry Naruto will get himself hurt or killed trying to protect his teammates and those fools on Kakashi's team. Well, besides the pup who's trying to make himself into a true shinobi, growled out Sakumo as he was pulling money out of his pouch and throwing it at the Hokage.
Fine, go, said the Hokage as he knew there was no stopping the man. Ruby, go to Maze and tell her to summon me in 20 minutes. For I need to gather supplies, and if any of those angels want to join me, ordered Sakumo as he was moving to the window to jump out and make his way to the family compound. Ruby turned to the Hokage. It might be best to mark the other two joining the mission as well, she tells the Hokage with a bow. Fine, said Sarutobi with a wave of his hand as his Anbu has come out of their hidden corners to clean up the two men to get them some medical treatment, and then seen by EVP as they are still alive. The team to the wave. Ruby appeared before Naruto. Sakumo-sama wishes to be summoned here in the next 20 minutes. She tells Naruto as she looks over at Maze.
Maze smirks, nodding her head. Fine. Let your lover know I'll be summoning him here in the next 20 minutes, she told the Hellhound.
Naruto looks over at his aunt as he sees that Kakashi is hiding behind Trixie. He arches an eyebrow at this. Why was this man so scared of his uncle? Something he would have to ask. Oh, Kakashi-chan, don't be scared of the big bad wolf. He isn't going to eat you. Well, he might if you piss him off, said Trixie as she giggles, patting the frightened man on his silver locks. Kakashi's eyes roll back in his head from the sheer fear he was feeling at this very moment on having his dead father joining them on a mission. Naruto walks over to the man and picks up a stick and slowly pokes the man with his stick. Is he going to be alright? He asks as he looks up to his two aunts.
He will be fine, said Maze as she had a sadistic grin on her face, looking forward to what will happen with the father-son meeting.
The time flew by and the 20 minutes was up, and Maze had gone thought the special hand signs needed to summon a demon. This demon she was calling was one of Lucifer's powerful newer generals that could take down even Azazel. With him beating the great demon, Tsukumo assured the demon's loyalty to Lucifer after everything.
Crimson flames came from the summoning circle with flames licking around him, and the three others standing in the circle around him. Michael narrowed his eyes at the other team joining his twin brother's son's team. Kakashi just paled even more when he saw Michael. "Sensei," he whispered in fear.
"I am not my brother, you fool," hissed out Michael as he walks past Kakashi and walks over to Maze and Trixie. "What has happened so far?" he demanded of the two women before him. "Naruto and Ruby took out two Chunins that had planned a surprise attack on us. But Naruto had an odd feeling and could smell something off and went to check it out from the sky. He did well if you ask me," said Trixie as she smiles at the Archangel standing before her.
Michael nodded his head at this. "Excellent. It appears he is taking to my training well," he said as he looks over at Naruto, who just smiles and turns back to talking to Kiba, Shika, and Ino about something.
Tsukumo stood before Tazuna. "I have paid for a higher mission for you to get 3 Jonins on this mission along with the 3 Jonins already on this mission," he said as he looked at the gray-haired man before him.
"Thank you very much. I didn't have the money for a higher mission," said Tazuna with tears rolling down his cheeks.
"I know. My summons Ruby told me as well as the Hokage," said Tsukumo as he looks over to the hellhound that stood off in the shadows of the forest around them all. Tazuna saw where the man before him was looking and saw the other hellhounds watching and growling from the shadows of the forest.
"Hell."
Lucifer laughs as he saw what Tsukumo done to his son. "About time someone knocks some scene in that boy," he tells his wife as she is looking at a few files on the desk. "I do agree," said Kushina as she placed down several files down before herself. "Hun."
"Yes, love?" questioned Lucifer, looking over to his wife as she has a shy smile on her face.
"You know that the Chunin exams are coming up in a few months and I would like to enter a team form a couple of the families in hell," said Kushina as she looks at him with the dangerous puppy eye no jutsu. Lucifer's sweat drops and smiles at her. "I was looking into that and I do believe that would be an excellent idea of sending a team of our own," he told his wife.
Kushina smiles. "I have several here that I believe that would be ready for that type of exam," she tells him. He nods his head and looks down at the files.